In this video, I wanted to give you a little bit of insight into how great improvisers think. In fact, the top 1%. What's going through their minds when they improvise? I get a lot of questions about how did you go about learning improvisation? What was the process that you took? But I think we don't really spend enough time understanding what an improviser is going through during the process of making great music. So that's what I want to do. I'm going to go through it step by step in the video. Please stick around for the whole thing. It's not going to be long because the process is actually fairly simple. So let me quickly put Skylark on the screen. It's the tune that I started improvising on at the beginning of the video. So the first thought that I have in any piece of music, if I'm going to improvise, is what we call the chord progression. And in Skylark, I think it's a fairly simple one. You basically map out what the chords are doing. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you're going to eventually make your way into A flat major temporarily, and then again here. Some kind of 2-5 that would head to A flat major, and basically commit that chord progression to memory, because unless you do that, it's very hard to think about expanding your improvisational horizons if you haven't got that basic chord progression down. Obviously, the melody is part of that, so you're thinking about that, but mostly it's what are the underlying chords. And think about the chord tones. So basically the 3rd and the 7th dictate the chord tones. So what I might suggest is that you play the tune just using 3 and 7 and just go find the chords. And unless you've got that, again, it's going to be very difficult to put anything on top of that. Commit the chord progression to memory, understand its movement, how it's progressing from one key into another key, for example, E flat into A flat and back. So then the second part is what are the available extensions from those chords? So far we've only thought about chord tones. What we might consider is what are the other notes from the scale? So for example, in an E flat major scale for the chord E flat 6th, which notes from that scale are available? The 9th and the 13th, of course, maybe the 11th, it depends on how you play it, or maybe the sharp 11. And then once you have that knowledge, then you can go back and look at the chord progression and think, what are the extensions for each of those notes? For example, if I'm going to the 2 chord, I'm starting on E flat, and then going to the 2 chord, if this note and this note are our destinations, what can I do with the existing scale to match that destination note? So for example, just passing notes. There's some experience in there, obviously, and I'm pulling ideas from the bebop language. Enclosures. I'm also pulling bebop scales. I'm also thinking about just simple melodies within the context of the tune Skylark. There might also be blues scales in there. So while that might sound like it's a bit of a complicated process, it isn't really. Commit the chord progression to memory and then find the appropriate scales that match the chord progression that you're playing. Now there's some crossover there. You don't have to necessarily think about an E flat scale and an F minor scale. E flat works on both of them. Works on G minor as well. It's a little bit different for A flat major 7 because the chord tones kind of suggest a different key, but it's pretty close. So the next step in the process is rhythm, because in my view of improvisation, rhythm is a big part of it because you're playing with a rhythm section typically. So while playing with other people, they're keeping steady time, and what you need to do is fit into that from a rhythmic perspective. So if they're going 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're kind of playing a medium swing over Skylark, you have to factor that into the chord progression, the scales, the bebop language, and then the underlying rhythm. And I believe that the rhythm is one of the most important things. It's more important than the notes themselves. So even if you get the notes wrong, the rhythm kind of carries it through. So for example, let's intentionally play some wrong notes. The scales and the notes in there were a little bit off, but the rhythm carried it through. Then the final part to this is, and the hardest part, is mixing solo lines and chords together to make music. So in the middle of your soloing, play some chords to kind of fill things out in between. So and that's essentially how I think. It's not a complicated process. There's basically 4 parts. Commit the chord progression to memory. Find the scales and the passing notes that fit over top of that chord progression. Get some rhythm happening in your playing, and then mix all of that together with chords and lines to make the best music you can make. I'm going to play a little bit more over Skylark, and then I'm going to post a link to another video that you might want to head to next if you're really considering diving deep into the improvisational process. Check it out. Let's play a little more of Skylark, and thanks so much for your time.